I read a post the other day that completely changed how I see Adventure Time. It said the show looks like candy, but it tastes like growing up. It may be a kid's cartoon, but it often hides surprisingly deep messages. When I was a kid, Adventure Time felt random. Rewatching it now, it's quietly devastating. Trauma, memory loss, and people who leave before you're ready. We were too young to understand, and I guarantee you'll see the show differently after this. At first glance, Season 4's Princess Cookie is a funny episode about a candy hostage situation. A rogue cookie holds Princess Bubblegum at gunpoint, demanding to be made a princess. It sounds ridiculous, but beneath the absurd setup lies a commentary on identity and acceptance. In broad strokes, the story is about the distress of being denied your true feelings, as one article put it. The titular character, a male chocolate chip cookie named Baby Snaps, was laughed at as a child for saying he wanted to be a princess. The episode shows his despair at being told he can't be what he feels he is, a clear nod to gender identity and dysphoria. This was rare representation in a 2012 kids show. Adventure Time found a creative way to explore how painful it is to have your identity invalidated. In the end, Princess Cookie would rather shatter himself than live a life where he can't be true to who he is. As children, we saw a wacky candy heist, but as adults, we recognize Princess Cookie's struggle to be accepted for who he really is. The episode's deeper meaning resonates with anyone who's felt out of place in their own skin, making Princess Cookie a quietly groundbreaking story about the right to define oneself. The Tower, Season 6, is an episode that begins right after Finn suffers a traumatic loss. His father, whom Finn idolized, abandons him and leaves him without an arm. Finn, normally cheerful, is left with deep emotional wounds and a flower growing out of the stump where his arm was, a strange magical phenomenon symbolizing his unrest. In The Tower, Finn copes with his pain in a dangerously impulsive way. He decides to build a tower into space so he can find his deadbeat dad and literally punch him, and maybe steal his arm as payback. To a young viewer, this episode is exciting and a bit weird. Finn stacking random objects sky high in a vengeful frenzy powered by a psychic grass arm. But the deeper layer here is a commentary on anger, PTSD, and the futility of revenge. Finn is essentially having a breakdown. His trauma breeds destructive, obsessive behavior, represented by the ever-growing tower to nowhere. He thinks hurting his father will make his own hurt go away. Through a series of events, and an intervention by his friends, Finn learns that vengeance won't bring him closure or peace. In a poignant hallucination scene at the top of the tower, Finn confronts and finds he can't go through with maiming him. Why? Because, as the show subtly teaches, Finn is not defined by bitterness like his father is. Princess Bubblegum orchestrates this scenario to help Finn realize the truth. Even if he got revenge, it wouldn't heal the emptiness inside him. The real way forward is acceptance. The Tower has a somewhat dark ending. Finn's tower collapses, and he's left sobbing in PB's arms, finally allowing himself to grieve rather than rage. It's a powerful image of a young hero learning to process trauma in a healthy way. The message, as noted by the AV Club review, is that accepting the reality of the situation and learning from it is the only path to moving on. As kids, we saw an action set piece and a cool robot arm. As adults, we see a portrayal of a mental health crisis and the beginning of healing. The Tower validates that feeling hurt and angry is okay, but warns that dwelling in hatred will only build a prison around you, or a dangerously teetering tower, in Finn's case. By the end of its run, Adventure Time had fully embraced existential storytelling. The Season 6 finale, The Comet, presents Finn and us with a profound choice that most kids' cartoons would never dare consider. Throughout the season, a catalyst comet, a mysterious cosmic entity of change, is hurtling toward Earth. In The Comet, Finn finally comes face to face with this celestial being. The comet manifests as a godlike purple entity and recognizes Finn as a kindred spirit. The show hints Finn's soul was a comet in a past life. Then it offers Finn an escape from all suffering.
Come with me to the end.
It essentially says, transcend this mortal plane and become something greater, free from love, hate, jealousy, all the messiness of life. It's a temptation to leave behind the flawed world and exist on a higher plane of cosmic existence. This is heavy stuff, probably baffling if you were a kid watching, but it sets up one of the most beautiful messages of the series. Finn declines the offer. He chooses to remain a human boy, scars and all, rather than abandon the life he knows. As one reflection on the episode succinctly put it, our hero rejects the comet's offer, choosing a flawed human life with his loved ones over a perfect life alone. Finn understands that being human, with all the pain, uncertainty, and even the eventual goodbye, is worth it because of the love and connection it contains. Interestingly, Finn's father Martin does accept the comet's offer, essentially running away from earthly life, in character for the selfish Martin. But Finn's choice is a triumph of maturity. He'd rather struggle and grow
Like a beautiful autumn leaf.
as the Comet poetically says, than exist as an unfeeling cosmic entity. This moment hit many adult fans hard. It's Adventure Time telling us that there is value in our imperfect, transient lives. The heartbreaks, the joys, the silliness, it's all part of being human, and it matters. A child might simply think, Finn didn't go because he's the hero and needs to stay with his friends. But older viewers grasp the deeper philosophy. Adventure Time is affirming life itself with all its entropy. Finn's world is one of war and loss. Remember, Ooh is post-apocalyptic, yet he still says yes to life. In doing so, he shows us that meaning comes from embracing the people we love and the time we're given, rather than longing for some unattainable perfection. The Comet is a surprisingly serious meditation on existence, one that left many of us reflecting on our own choices and values after the credits roll. Few episodes hit as hard in the feels as I Remember You. This season 4 episode starts with the Ice King pestering Marceline to help him write a song. Kids laughed at the goofy Ice King trying to impress princesses with music. But as the story unfolds, we learn that Ice King, real name Simon, and Marceline share a tragic history dating back to the apocalypse. The scrapbook pages Ice King carries aren't random ramblings. They're letters Simon wrote to a young Marceline, apologizing as he loses his mind to the cursed crown. When Marceline sings the heartfelt lyrics,
"Please forgive me for whatever I do when I don't remember you,"
it's revealed that those were Simon's words to her. In that moment, the silly Ice King is unmasked as a heartbreaking figure, a man who knew he would succumb to dementia-like madness and begged his surrogate daughter to forgive him when he could no longer remember her. I Remember You revealed more about Ice King's tragic past and former friendship with Marceline, turning a comedic character into a deeply tragic one. As kids, we felt sad without fully understanding why. As adults, we recognized this story as an allegory for Alzheimer's or mental illness. Marceline's beloved friend is still there physically, but the person he was is essentially gone. The episode is an emotional gut punch about memory, loss, and the enduring love of a family found in the ruins of a broken world. It's an episode that grows up alongside its audience. We only grasp its full weight once we have a bit more life experience and understand what it means to watch someone we love fade away. Season 7's The Hall of Egress is often cited as one of Adventure Time's most symbolic and metaphorically rich stories. On the surface, it's an adventure of the week. Finn gets magically trapped in an underground dungeon hallway. Every time he tries to leave, he's teleported back unless his eyes are closed. It becomes a Groundhog Day loop of him escaping blind, then opening his eyes and snapping back to square one. For a child, this episode is a confusing puzzle. Why can't Finn just escape? But to an older viewer, it's a brilliant allegory about letting go of control. Finn tries every method to beat the Hall, growing more desperate each time. Eventually, he realizes the only way out is to surrender, to give up his attachments and literally strip down. He discards his gear and even clothes and walk forward blind, trusting that it will work out. It does. As one analysis explains, Finn's journey is about acceptance of the situation and letting go of control, an experience that makes him grow and widens his view of the world. Finn has to relinquish his need to solve everything logically and instead have faith, blind faith, quite literally. This echoes the Eastern philosophy of Wu Wei, effortless action, the idea that sometimes you escape your metaphorical dungeon not by struggling harder, but by letting go. In the Hall of Egress, Finn undergoes a little death of ego. He lets go of his physical attachments, his relationships, and even his sensory experience, sight, to finally gain a new perspective. It's a painful, personal journey, but it leads to enlightenment of a sort. By the time he returns to the surface, Finn has changed internally. He appreciates the world with fresh eyes. He excitedly hugs Jake, exclaiming how different everything looks. The message is rewarding. To grow as a person, you sometimes must accept what you can't control and trust life's process. The Hall of Egress, with its eerie, poetic storytelling, quietly taught us about the power of surrender and personal growth. As kids, we might not have understood why Finn shouts,
"No comment!"
when asked about the cave, but now we get it. Some experiences are too profound for words, and what matters is how they change us. Not all of Adventure Time's lessons are abstract. Some are very human and emotional. And that's all we have for today. If you like cartoons, you can check out one of my other videos, and I'm still a pretty new channel, so I'd just like to say thank you for all the support on my last videos.